Give us 60 minutes and we'll give you Nelson Radio every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on KTLK AM 1150. With 29 years in the mortgage business and an array of top-level guests visiting the show, Nelson is in a unique position to bring you cutting-edge information on real estate, business, finance, and law. If you have any questions for Nelson or any of his guests, give him a call at 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. Or check him out online at nelsonradio.com.
Nelson Radio. You're listening to Nelson Radio. This segment brought to you by Insurance Incorporated.
Welcome back to Nelson Radio right here on KTLK AM 1150. And we're going to do something a little bit out of order. It's going to be great advice, great direction, and great insight from an author of a book called Worthy to Win. I want to remind you, as you drive around, if you call us, one of the first 20 callers, we'll send you an e-copy of this book, Worthy to Win, authored by Joey Johnson. And it's an insight on really how we perform. And it fits well with our theme today as we talk about risk versus reward. So first of all, I want to welcome Joey Johnson to the program. How are you, Joey?
I'm doing good, Nelson. Thank you.
It's a great topic because you talk about the worthy to win and some of the things that we put in front of ourselves that get in the way. Give us a little bit of insight.
Well, about 15 years ago, I was coaching on the pro tennis tour, and in the midst of that experience, I saw so many players who were so talented, and you see that, very high level of technical development. It's so similar in many respects for a lot of those players, and yet when you see some of these players that emerge or these athletes that emerge to the top, the mental side became very evident to me, and so that's when I started really digging my heels in and working more toward becoming a mental performance coach and helping with some of those intangibles. And so over the past 15 years, I've developed a very distinct process that I've worked with a lot of athletes in various sports, and as well as spent some time at the Olympic Training Center and worked with college teams, some pro athletes, and businesses. I've spent 10 years in corporate America and in the sales aspect, and so I've worked with a lot of people on the sales end as well.
Let me ask you this, because you begin your book with understanding the performer within you. And I think most coaching today, whether it's in business or in sports, kind of homogenizes the performer. There's not this individualized identity of, well, I'm this kind of a performer or that kind of performer. They're just given instructions on how to perform in that corporate model. What's the difference?
Well, what I discovered is that with the great athletes is that they, the great ones seem to have this ability to kind of use their unique way of thinking about things, their unique way of performing, and really hold true to it. And so what I've found over the years in working with people is that once they understand their mental style, what's natural for them, and you can certainly you can enhance it, but oftentimes, you have some people that have just for their whole lives have been just really aggressive, for example, and others that are much more patient and more laid back, and and I think both can work if they understand how to use it. So that's where it all starts, understanding your identity, and that's your mental style.
We're with Joey Johnson, author of Worthy to Win, and we're taking a look at risk versus reward. I love one of the comments that you make about the 7 faces of a champion. Now, I'm thinking that's just 7 different photos of me, but that's probably not the case, huh?
Oh, no, that's exactly where it came from. But no, what that is that's 7 different mental styles, and some of them blend together. So what I basically, in my years of coaching, I observed that there were, quite a few different mental styles, and most people that go through that assessment will find probably at least 2 of those mental styles they can really relate to. And then from there, to drill down a little deeper, what we look at is really honing in on the strengths of that style that person has, and then the weaknesses so that they can, kind of shore those up and use that mental style to their advantage. And they combine it with we'll call it their playing style, whether that's, for an athlete or a business person. Once those 2 merge together consistently, that's when I've seen momentum really build for people.
You know, in business right now here in Southern California and throughout the nation, we're seeing an economic recovery, and the housing market specifically is leading the charge with this thirst for real estate with the consumer and home buyers and home sellers that are very active in the marketplace. And so the trend line and the momentum has been established. But you talk about riding that wave to your next breakthrough. And it's just for a period of time. I interpret that as if you're in a current cycle, it's just for a period of time. And do you prepare for the next one while you're on that wave, or you just riding the wave as you go?
Well, that's a great question, Nelson. And I think the highest performers they're riding the wave, but they're always preparing for what's next, and they're reading into what's coming next. And this is kind of, I think, one of the big things that prepares people to be able to take the risks that are necessary. You know, we talk about risk and reward, that if we're constantly kind of preparing for things that may happen that we might not even think of, but we're ready in a sense, mentally and emotionally, if things change. That's the key, I think. That mental and emotional stability and strength always developing, I think, is what keeps, certainly on the athletic side, keeps people in the game, so to speak, when something happens that they might not have prepared for, and they're able to ride through it a lot more effectively. With
that, you have a statement in your book about uncovering the need to win. Mm-hmm. And I think culturally we're all coached in that same category of you need to win. In fact, in the tennis realms, there was one very prominent tennis player that said that he was ranked number 2 in the world, and he said the U.S. is the only place that you can be number 2 and fail. So uncovering your need to win, do people not have a sense of that need?
As far as, well, I think there's a lot of people that don't really understand their true motivations. I mean, we all, I guess everybody knows that we're trying to win at something, but sometimes, drilling down to what really motivates someone and what winning really means to them, it can be different for people. And this is where I think self-sabotage can enter in. For example, you might have some people that their identity is so connected to winning that they don't take the risks. They don't allow themselves to develop in new areas and strengthen things because they're so concerned about, the identity of just getting the win, whether it's winning the match or the game or winning the sale. And I think that's a big problem. One of the things that's been really interesting to me is that a lot of what I think stops people mentally is their inability just to say, I've got to keep getting better. That is the bigger picture. Now, we all want to win at the end of the day, but are we getting better? And that's where the need to win needs to be kind of framed correctly. Does that make sense?
No, it totally makes sense. And you think of the examples, whether it be Tiger Woods, who was number 1 in the world and still looking to reinvent himself and improve his game. Andy Murray wins Wimbledon, wins a gold medal in the Olympics, still looking for ways to enhance his game on the field of tennis. And so I think that's very insightful. It's a great book, and I want to encourage you to take advantage of it. We've got e-copies of this book to extend to you, 20 copies. I want to thank Joey Johnson, the author of Worthy to Win, for being with us. Thank you, Joey.
Thank you, Nelson. Good luck to everybody out there.
Thank you. And it's going to be a good motivator. Call us direct. This will get you a copy emailed directly over to you at 888-888-2136. That's 888-2136. Phil, I know I need to pour through this, discovering my motives to win. And so check it out. You can also click through at nelsonradio.com. Stay tuned. We're going to go back into our mortgage panel looking at risk versus reward coming up in our next segment. Stay with us.
You're listening to Nelson Radio. This segment brought to you by Insurance Incorporated. Nelson is a licensed lender under the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 331060.
This is Nelson from Nelson Radio, and it's important that we talk about a very serious issue. We had bad lending practices that led to the mortgage meltdown, but now we've got the challenge of deplorable customer service coming out of the meltdown. Bottom line, getting a new loan can be like pulling teeth without Novocaine. I've got the solution. Academy Mortgage and my team are injecting into the industry real performance and real accountability. Here are the facts. Appraisals in less than a week. Rate guarantees that can improve if the market goes down. Purchase transactions with our market-exclusive close-on-time guarantees and refinance transactions in as little as 30 days. Who would have thunk? Guaranteed rates and guaranteed performance from your mortgage lender. Call me, Nelson, an accountable loan expert for nearly 3 decades, direct at 888-888-2136. That's Nelson at 888-888-2136, 888-888-2136, or at strongcreditrewards.com.